My younger sister was obsessed with romance novels about high-ranking officials. To create the colossal social status gap with her future male lead, she deliberately fabricated accusations against our father, leading to his dismissal from work. She even planned to put drugs into a patient our mother was treating, so Mom would be wrongly accused of murder and sent to jail. Luckily, I discovered her plan beforehand and warned her. It's not even certain you'll meet your romance novel male lead. To ruin our entire family for something so uncertain, do you have no conscience left? But in her eyes, only the dazzling flame of ambition shone, deaf to anything I said. She even pushed me straight down from a high floor. In the end, our parents were killed because of her. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the day my sister wrote that fake accusation letter to harm Dad. "Sis, I'm going out for a bit." The moment my sister stepped out the door, I immediately swapped the accusation letter in her backpack with a thank you letter I had stayed up all night to write. After finishing everything, I breathed a sigh of relief. Thank goodness, there was still time. In my previous life, it was this very accusation letter that tore our family apart, and the mastermind behind it all was my own sister. The sister who wholeheartedly believed she was the female lead in a high-ranking official romance novel. I couldn't understand how our parents, with their normal genes, could have given birth to such a monster as my sister. I truly couldn't comprehend it. Initially, I simply respected her thoughts, believing a girl could have her own dreams, but then she even began to harm our parents, shattering this family. I couldn't stand by and watch anymore. When my sister, Mia, returned with her purchases, she was completely unaware that I had switched the contents of her bag. She was still self-satisfied, believing she had taken one more step closer to her romance novel male lead. "Sis, I'm off to school now." She didn't even glance at me, just beamed with happiness. I knew what she was happy about. Watching her retreating back, I cursed softly, idiot asterisk. After Mia submitted the accusation letter, she eagerly awaited Dad's return from work every day. She longed to see his dejected look, as that would signify her plan's success. Dad, it's okay if work isn't going well. We're here for you, we can overcome any difficulties together." Mia clenched her fists, cheering for Dad, but to her surprise, she looked up to see his radiant smile. He ruffled her hair, then called to me, sitting on the sofa. "Mia, my name, come here quickly." The company's CEO specially called me up today to praise me, and said I'd be getting a raise too. Come on, to celebrate my efforts being recognized by the leadership, I specially bought a cake. "My dear daughters, come and eat." The smug smile on Mia's face immediately froze. What? My dad thought Mia was simply overjoyed, so he picked her up and spun her around. "Mia, I know you like Oreo flavor. I specifically requested extra. Come on, eat." As she ate the cake, Mia's face was darker than the Oreo itself. After dinner, Mia went straight to her room without a word. I stopped our parents, who were about to retreat to their room for rest. "Mom, Dad, look at this." They looked bewildered. It wasn't until they opened the accusation letter I had swapped that their expressions changed drastically. "What is this?" I explained. "This is the accusation letter Mia intended to send to Dad's company leadership today. I discovered it early and replaced it with a thank you letter. Otherwise, Dad wouldn't have received a raise today." My dad was shocked beyond belief. How could this be? How could my daughter be like this? I pointed to the words on the letter. "Isn't this handwriting clear enough, Dad? If you don't believe me, Dad, just pretend to be angry in your study. Say that work isn't going well. The leadership has withdrawn the benefits, and mention the accusation letter they received. You can then observe Mia's reaction." One evening, my dad came home with a grim expression. The moment he pushed the door open, he appeared annoyed, tugging at his tie. "Today, the leadership called me in for a talk. They said they received an accusation letter and were planning to demote me and cut my salary. What bad luck." My mother, also worried, took his briefcase and consoled him. "That serious? Who would be so thoughtless as to write an accusation letter against you?" My dad paused, shaking his head vaguely, his eyes darting to Mia's face. "I don't know either. Why now of all times? The proposal I just submitted was rejected. This is great, they didn't even give me a reason." He irritably ran a hand through his hair and noticed the faint smile playing on Mia's lips. He froze instantly. Both my parents had noticed it. They couldn't believe their own daughter was the one wishing them ill fortune. My dad clenched his fists, walked over, and sat at the table. Mia didn't even forget to add fuel to the fire. Mom, Dad, it's okay. You're both middle-aged now, but you still have time to strive. My dad's face darkened further. What kind of talk is that? My mom couldn't even force a smile, coldly clearing the dishes from the table and glancing at me. Throughout the entire meal, only Mia was happy. In the middle of the night, my parents called me into the study. They couldn't understand why their own daughter harbored such strange thoughts. I placed the accusation letter on their table. Because I had a very long dream. In the dream, I saw her put this accusation letter in her bag, take it to Dad's company, and give it to the leadership, causing Dad to be criticized and lose his job. She was incredibly smug about it. Not only that, but she also planned to put drugs into a patient Mom was treating, so Mom would be framed for murder and sent to jail. I discovered her plan and tried to stop her, but at that moment, she wouldn't listen to anything and even pushed me off the rooftop. After that, I woke up. I thought I should investigate because everything in the dream felt too real, but I never expected to actually find this accusation letter in her bag. So I'm convinced that everything in the dream is true. The more my parents listened, the more preposterous it sounded. How could this be? How could Mia be like that? I pointed to the letter on the table. This accusation letter is the beginning of it all, Dad. You saw it yourselves. When Mia saw Dad encounter difficulties at work, her entire being radiated joy. She was excited, eagerly anticipating it. My mother now had some belief, but she still didn't understand Mia's behavior. So why is she doing this? I let out a cold snort. To become a Cinderella, just like in the novels, and successfully climb the social ladder. My mother found it even more unbelievable. That's absurd. I talked with my parents all night. They only believed me about 80%. If that was the case, they would have to experience what happened to Mom once more to fully trust my words. After Mia submitted the accusation letter that caused Dad difficulties, her path to becoming Cinderella was halfway successful. Next, she would target my mother. According to the events of my previous life, she would visit Mom's hospital, using the excuse of wanting to study medicine to follow Mom around. I had gone with Mom beforehand and stayed in the on-call room. Mia, like a curious child, trailed after Mom everywhere. Mom, what's this? What does this medicine do? Mom, why do you use this for patients? Will it stop their pain? Mom, what happens if you use too much of this medicine? Initially, my mother patiently answered her, but perhaps she was remembering what I had said in the study that night, so she gradually lost her patience. Mia, if you keep bothering me while I work, then go home. But right after that, she received an urgent phone call and rushed to the operating room. Seeing this, Mia stealthily approached Mom's medical cart and took out a vial of medicine that shouldn't be overdosed on patients. The smile on her face sent shivers down one's spine. Mom, don't blame me. It's all for your daughter's future. She intended to pour the medicine into the patient's IV drip. Just as she finished replacing it and was about to open the valve, there was a knock on the hospital room door. My mother had returned. Mia flinched, then immediately grinned and ran over. Mom, you're back. My mother saw the empty vial, her expression slightly chilled. She sighed. Mia, I'm a little disappointed in you. Mia looked bewildered. Mom, what are you talking about? The words had barely left her lips when police officers surrounded the hospital room door. We received a report of an attempted murder here. Please come with us, Ms. Mia, to cooperate with the investigation. Mia nearly jumped. You want to arrest me? Do you have evidence? On what grounds are you arresting me? The police presented a surveillance video. We received this live surveillance video. In the video, you are injecting a toxic substance into the patient's IV drip. Therefore, please come with us. Before being escorted away, Mia still couldn't understand what went wrong. Mom, save me. They're wrongly accusing me. I was just too curious, that's all. You believe me, right? My mother just stood still. She no longer had an ounce of trust left for this daughter. I stepped out of the on-call room, my phone screen displaying 911. In my other hand, I held an iPad, playing the surveillance video from the hospital room. I walked in front of Mom, looked into her disappointed eyes, and said, See, Mom, just like I said, right? Even the details match. You still don't want to believe my prophetic dream, Mom. Mia only cares about marrying into a rich family. She believes that only a significant social status gap can attract the elite, princes, and wealthy young masters. My mother took a deep breath. I truly raised an ungrateful viper. I saw that my mother was completely disappointed in Mia. Only then could I implement my next plan. Because Mia was underage and had no clear motive, she was released after only a short detention. The medicine vial also caused no harm to anyone because emergency treatment was given in time. My parents believed my words even more. During the days Mia was arrested, everyone implicitly avoided mentioning her. When Mia returned, she saw everyone eating dinner by themselves. No one had waited for her. Mia was a little unhappy, but also somewhat satisfied, because she felt that the family's coldness was a great stepping stone for her to meet her romance novel male lead. "Mom, Dad, why didn't you wait for me?" She was wearing a pristine white dress, which was stained, making her look somewhat like a fallen noblewoman and truly like Cinderella. Mia looked at us pitifully, but our parents were completely disappointed in her. "If you're back, eat dinner. There's still a little left." Mia froze, then started to cry. My mother frowned. "Don't think that we won't scold or hit you. Do you know you almost killed someone? If that medicine had been injected, do you know what the consequences would have been?" Mia became even more pathetic. "Mom, even you're blaming me. I was just following you to learn, thinking I could also cure illnesses and save people like you. How could you bear to blame me?" My mother let out a long sigh. "Look at the daughter you raised." My dad also shook his head repeatedly. Dinner ended with Mia's intermittent sobs. Late at night, Mia went out. I saw her wearing natural-looking makeup. In the chilly spring weather, she wore a white dress, not even tights, and just walked out like that. My parents had gone to their room, so they didn't notice, but I witnessed the scene firsthand. Immediately after, I went into her room. I skillfully opened the bedside drawer. In my previous life, I remembered she had a romance novel female lead plan, notebook, where she recorded things she needed to do in the form of a diary. At first, seeing that I wasn't paying attention, I thought it was just a little girl's novel, but I never expected it to be her wicked diary. I flipped to the first page. The table of contents read romance novel female lead plan, followed by family background, relatives. Under family background, she drew an X, followed by accusation letter. She checked the accusation letter box, meaning it was completed. My eyes grew cold. There are truly people in this world who regard their parents and family as mere stepping stones. When Mia pushed open her bedroom door, I had just finished closing the diary. She screamed, then lunged at me. "What are you doing? Touching my private things." I gave a cold laugh. I never expected my own sister to be like this. She puffed out her chest. "What do you know? This is my pass to become the female lead of a romance novel. If you mess up my chance to meet the elite young masters of Beijing's upper class." I chuckled softly. "If you don't want our parents to treat you well, don't want everyone to love you as their daughter, then just cut ties with them. As long as you move out of here, Mom and Dad won't bother you anymore. Wouldn't that be effective immediately? Wouldn't your family background be even more tragic?" Mia froze, seemingly contemplating the feasibility of this plan. I stood up and left. "You think it through yourself." Mia had some brains. After I spoke, she thought for a long time, always hesitating. When told to truly give up, she couldn't bear it. She still stayed home, tormenting our parents, so I gave her a push. "Aren't you fond of handsome rich guys? The internet is full of them. Hire one and it's perfect." I even gave him a very fitting male lead name, Ethan Foster. The same surname as the crown prince of Beijing's upper class, guaranteed to hook Mia. Ethan Foster asked me how to charm Mia. I just replied, "No need to charm her, just stand there, she'll come to you automatically." Ethan nodded, diligently beginning to appear wherever Mia went to school. He wore an LV suit, sunglasses on the back of his neck, a string of prayer beads on his wrist, creating the image of a devout but otherwise unrelated person. But leaning against the Porsche, his aura immediately radiated. Mia was inherently very sensitive to such luxury cars, almost immediately spotting the man leaning against the Porsche, puffing on a cigarette. Mia immediately approached him. "Excuse me, are you waiting for someone?" Before getting close, she intentionally used roadside mud to dirty her white dress, looking truly pitiful like an abandoned girl. Ethan Foster saw that face appear and knew it was time. The target had appeared. He politely put out his cigarette. "What is it?" Mia heard his deep, warm voice. Her bones seemed to melt. "Sir, I don't have my phone and my parents haven't come to pick me up. Could I borrow your phone?" Ethan took out his phone without a case from his pocket and handed it to her without a word. Mia took the phone but still couldn't make a call. She silently returned the phone, tears welling in her eyes. "I'm so sorry to bother you. My parents probably don't need me anymore. No one is answering." Her pitiful expression, no man could see that without his heart softening. Ethan Foster seized the opportunity and continued, "Then let me give you a ride part of the way." From behind a tree, I clearly saw Mia's secretly joyful expression before she got into the car. The call Mia made using Ethan Foster's phone wasn't actually to our parents, but to her own phone. She took the opportunity to save Ethan Foster's number. The two began to communicate secretly. With a goal set, her subsequent actions were not surprising. At dinner, Mom complained about Mia's clothes. "They're always dirty every day, they're so hard to wash." Mia immediately exploded, pulling out her pre-prepared script. "Mom, besides talking about these useless trifles, what else do you know how to say? I've grown this old, and I've never heard a single word of praise from you. I'm also your daughter, but you always favor my sister." My dad roared, "What nonsense are you talking about? Your sister is always well behaved. Why would we talk about her? You, on the other hand, don't appreciate your clothes. You always demand new ones, and when they get dirty, you don't know how to wash them. Go and see for yourself how many white dresses like that are in your closet." Mia completely failed to recognize her own fault. She only knew to follow the script, so she overturned the dining table. "Then no one eats. You all don't want me to live well, then no one lives well." My dad got furious, stepping forward and slapping her. "Rebellious daughter, did father teach you to cause trouble at home like this?" This slap from Dad sent Mia sprawling on the floor. She looked up, disbelieving. "Dad, you hit me again." My mother should have intervened to help. She always loved her youngest daughter dearly. But this time, she chose to stand by and watch. After the previous drugging incident and my words, Mia had completely lost her mother's favor. So this time, she just watched coldly. Mia saw the expressions on everyone's faces, giving her even more reason to deliver her next lines. "You've all truly disappointed me. I want to leave all of you, leave this house." My dad was also furious, his whole body burning with rage. "What crazy thoughts are you having every day?" I stood by, adding fuel to the fire. "If you hate us so much, hate this house, then just cut ties with us." Mia looked at me. "Fine, then cut ties. From now on, I'm no longer your daughter." I almost jumped up and clapped. My dad furiously smashed a bowl. "Then cut ties." Mia cried and ran out of the house. Half an hour later, I opened my phone and saw a live report from Ethan Foster. Mia was with him. Sure enough, after cutting ties, she immediately ran to a man to play the victim, feign pity, and seek sympathy. Her tricks were too old. Ethan Foster called me. This was his main account, and the secondary account was one I had created specifically for Mia. Mia's pitiful crying could be heard on the phone. "Sir, my family doesn't want me anymore. They always prefer my sister, think I'm stupid, say I'm not smart. Just now, I argued with them." Ethan Foster's voice was deep. She had probably snuggled into his arms. "Sir, this time I listened to you. I also decided to be brave for once. This is the first time I've raised my voice at my parents, the first time I've spoken my mind." Ethan Foster softly hummed. "I've cut ties with them. Sir, now I only have you. We're probably about to start an angsty romance." Ethan Foster just chuckled. "It's okay, I'm here, I'll support you." Just that one phrase, "I'll support you," and Mia decisively dropped out of school. She even moved in with Ethan Foster, following him around all day. She didn't go home, didn't study, just thought that following her romance novel male lead would lead to a stable life. She even followed Ethan Foster to drink and sing karaoke, being psychologically manipulated without realizing it. She would never have known that a real young master or crown prince wouldn't secretly book a super cheap 3-hour combo on an app to pretend to go to a club. Don't ask why. The answer is limited budget, and her intelligence was also limited. One time, I was attending a high school class and coincidentally met Mia. She was wearing very heavy makeup, a style that didn't suit her at all. I frowned, and she immediately knew what was bothering me. "You think I'm too gaudy, don't you, sis? But some people accept this side of me. Some people love this side of me." I leaned against the wall, my eyes mocking. "I don't think you're gaudy at all." Mia froze, her face stiff. "I won't talk to you anymore, sis. Ethan has booked a room. Today he's taking me to meet his friends. His friends are all wealthy and influential. Seeing me with someone poor and lowly like you would make Ethan lose face." She turned and walked away. The cheap perfume smell assailed my nose, giving me a headache. A 20 yuan budget. Ethan Foster bought a Miniso perfume, and Mia cherished it so much. She used so much. Mia tasted the sweetness of love with her romance novel male lead and began posting updates about her love life online. Occasionally, she would post melancholic thoughts. For example, what to do if your boyfriend is too rich, too high status? Or, my boyfriend belongs to the elite, while I'm just an ordinary person, it's so agonizing. Occasionally, she would post obscure romance novel prose accompanied by a photo of herself sitting in the passenger seat of a Porsche. Their world never says, "I love you." They only use one word: follow. My entire life belongs to you, unwavering until death. I told Ethan, in my next life I want to be a free bird. He said, then I will be the tall tree for the bird to nest in, shielding it from rain and wind. I am not innocent, but I am not guilty either. I just love one person, a person whose status and position are vastly different from mine. Such posts frequently appeared on her social media, too many to count. I took screenshots and sent them to Mia, my words full of sarcasm. Your boyfriend doesn't seem to have any reputation, does he? Is he really a young master? Even if he is, your boyfriend's fame is too small. It won't attract attention. Mia only read it and didn't reply. I knew she had seen it, but she held back for 3 days and finally couldn't hold back anymore. She replied to me at length. What do you know, sis? I think you're jealous. My boyfriend is the crown prince of the Beijing elite, someone you'll never be able to interact with in your entire life. I'm telling you, don't even think about climbing the social ladder through me in the future. I won't pay attention to you. My boyfriend also doesn't like me associating with family members like you. In the future, I'll be a rich madam. I ignored her. Anyway, my provocation tactic had worked. How could such vague, boastful posts lead to her punishment? Only by letting her fully indulge her desires could she be lifted higher and fall harder. A week later, her social media page began to feature suggestive posts. For example, she started taking many photos of her wrist adorned with sandalwood beads. For example, designer bags began to appear in her photos. For example, she started showing off photos of romantic getaways. Or, for example, she would occasionally mention Ethan in her posts, mentioning a man with a Beijing accent and a man who would take her traveling around the world. And her location tags always accompanied the crown prince of the Beijing elite. She said she was traveling with her boyfriend for business, but location tags could be faked, vacation photos could be photoshopped, boyfriend photos could be photoshopped, and designer handbags could certainly be photoshopped. In reality, she was someone who had never left our province, but these social media posts, once uploaded, saw interaction surge. She even became a somewhat famous internet personality. Because she occasionally hinted in the comments section that the person she was dating was the crown prince of the Beijing elite, that Ethan was indeed that crown prince. She wanted to build her boyfriend's image as a young master into that of a crown prince. Initially, I named him Ethan Foster, which had some connection to that crown prince. That crown prince was very private, disliked public appearances, and especially disliked gimmicks, but his name indeed contained the character Foster, trite. Therefore, I chose this name. So that later, when posts about the crown prince of the Beijing elite became popular, Mia would become the crown prince's girlfriend. Many wealthy young masters and ladies followed her out of curiosity, thinking she was a real sister-in-law. But Mia didn't dare to follow them back, fearing she might actually be exposed. At the same time, the contract between Ethan Foster and me had expired. He could safely retreat. I told him to leave quietly. By the time Mia discovered it, Ethan Foster had already taken his next job, becoming someone else's boyfriend. Her young master boyfriend suddenly disappeared, along with the landlady who suddenly came demanding high rent. Mia panicked. She didn't have a penny to her name. Normally, she lived off the allowance Ethan Foster gave her. She didn't feel she needed money because romance novel female leads were always resilient and independent, not materialistic. So she didn't ask for anything, needed nothing, and ultimately didn't salvage a single penny. Mia had no way out and was burdened with a huge debt. She had no choice but to slink back home and beg us for shelter. Mom, Dad, sis, I know I was wrong. I'll never cause trouble for any of you again. I want to come home. I truly miss everyone." My mother was cold and my father was furious. "You yourself said you wanted to cut ties. Now we don't have a daughter like you." Mia was terrified. She knelt, begging our parents for forgiveness. "Mom, Dad, I truly know I was wrong. That day, I shouldn't have been angry and said those bad things. Actually, I was also deceived." My parents looked slightly surprised. "What?" Mia saw a glimmer of hope and immediately began to lie. "I just wanted you both to have a better life. That's why I followed him. Because he said, as long as I agreed to follow him, he would arrange a good job for Dad. Millions in income every year. Mom and Dad wouldn't have to work so hard anymore." At this moment, I stood behind them, took out an old diary, and began to read. "I hope Mom and Dad are unemployed. Only then can my image be built. But why are my parents so difficult to deal with? They still can't lose their jobs. My dad got a raise, I'm so angry. My accusation letter didn't work. The accusation letter worked. Next is Mom. Mom is getting old, never wears makeup, isn't refined, only knows how to be at the hospital with patients. I've wanted Mom to quit this job for a long time. If I had a fashion designer mother, how great that would be. My family looks so provincial. I want to cut ties with them. Only then can I be with Ethan. I want to be his woman. I want to follow him. I know, becoming Cinderella can help me become a rich madam." I intended to continue reading, but Mia lunged forward and snatched the diary, interrupting me. "Don't read anymore. That's not me. That's not me." My parents had already heard enough, so they were no longer surprised. "All right, you don't need to say anything more. Our home doesn't welcome you. You go out and find your own way to live. We wish you an early day of becoming a rich madam." My mother's face was grim. She and my father closed the door, refusing to see anyone. Mia cried and screamed outside the door, but it was useless. My parents were determined not to acknowledge this daughter anymore. Because every action Mia took, I reported it to them, exaggerating details. Each time I spoke, the disappointment in their eyes grew heavier, and their intention to find her again diminished. My chance of winning also grew larger. Now I had won. After being driven away by us, Mia could only sleep under a bridge. The person who found her again wasn't us, but a lawyer invited by the real crown prince of the Beijing elite. The lawyer was stunned the moment he saw her. How could the beautiful internet celebrity, who traveled everywhere and posted glamorous photos online, look like this? Was the crown prince being clung to by someone like this? He returned and immediately sued this impersonator of the crown prince's girlfriend. Mia was sued for infringing upon someone else's honor rights, plus the opposing party was the crown prince's top lawyer. The lawsuit proceeded, and Mia owed the crown prince 10 million. The moment she heard it was the crown prince suing her, she shamelessly clung on, repeatedly asking the lawyer where the crown prince was. She wanted to meet him just once. The lawyer, utterly annoyed, sued her again for harassment. I sat in the back row of the courtroom, watching the ambition in Mia's eyes. "Your Honor, I truly love Ethan, I just love him too much. What did I do wrong? You can't convict me." The judge was even more speechless, slamming the gavel down, a single strike to decide. The defendant doesn't even know the plaintiff's real name. Mia had no place to live and owed a huge sum of money. This time, she truly had no way out. She again knelt at our doorstep, begging for our forgiveness. "Mom, Dad, I was wrong. Please let me come home. How can you bear to see your own daughter sleeping under a bridge?" I opened the door. Our parents weren't home. I smiled and squatted in front of her. "What's wrong? Giving up already? Now is the perfect time for you to meet the crown prince. Think about it, isn't it just like in novels where the female lead encounters difficulties, begs the male lead for help, and from there, feelings develop? Also, the crown prince just hasn't met you yet. If he meets you, who knows, he might clear up the misunderstanding, and you won't even have to pay the debt." Mia froze on the spot. I knew she was considering the feasibility of this statement. I continued to add fuel to the fire. "Look, in all romance novels, the beginning is like this. The female lead owes a huge debt, meets the male lead, then receives his help, and from there, a passionate love begins. Little sister, your novel has begun. What you should do is follow him, find opportunities to interact with him, not beg for our forgiveness here." Mia believed me, turned around, and went everywhere inquiring about the crown prince's whereabouts. With my help, Mia recently followed the crown prince every day. As soon as there was any news, she would cling to him like a ghost, not forgetting to take photos and post them on her social media for others to envy. The Crown Prince had long known about such a person and was constantly annoyed. The important thing was that Mia was especially shameless. "Ethan, I know you have feelings for me now, but due to your status, it's inconvenient for you to say so. It's okay, I'll always persevere. Status is not an insurmountable barrier in our love. As long as you are willing to accept me, I am willing to do everything for you." Such words frequently appeared in her posts. In a restaurant, the Crown Prince was discussing business and signing a contract with someone else. Mia suddenly appeared, catching the Crown Prince off guard. "Who are you?" The Crown Prince's friend also froze, perhaps never having seen the Crown Prince so agitated. The important thing was that Mia didn't understand, and even took his not hitting women as adoration. I held a cup of coffee, set my phone up, and silently enjoyed the drama unfolding behind me. Mia lifted the hem of her white dress and plopped down next to the Crown Prince. "Ethan, it's me. Did you forget me? I know you have me in your heart, but can you not be so fierce with me? I am your destined goddess." "Got it, Ethan, playing a big game, huh? Can your overseas girlfriend tolerate her?" The other person watched the spectacle, unafraid of stirring up trouble, which caught Mia's attention. "I know you're Ethan's junior, so just call me sister-in-law from now on." The moment these words were spoken, the entire room fell silent. The Crown Prince gritted his teeth. The person sitting opposite him was also of similar status. Where did a junior come from? These words were few, but the insult was extremely potent. The Crown Prince sighed. "She's crazy." The person opposite him nodded. "I can see that. Quite crazy." Mia froze. She stepped forward and hugged the Crown Prince's arm. "Ethan, why are you talking about me like that? Who is that overseas person everyone's talking about? Is it someone your family arranged for marriage? You can't refuse, can you? You don't actually want to marry that woman without love, do you? Look at me, marry me." The Crown Prince's temple throbbed. The man opposite him actually burst out laughing. "A family marriage you can't refuse. Ha ha ha. Ethan, your childhood sweetheart romance that everyone admired, how did it go so wrong?" The Crown Prince raised his hand and called for bodyguards to throw her out. The Crown Prince genuinely wanted to hit women. I had never had such an experience. But he couldn't. Too many media outlets were watching his every move. He represented his family, represented his company, and could not engage in behavior that would be exaggerated by the media. Throwing someone out was already the result of his extreme self-restraint. The Crown Prince could endure it, but his fiancée might not. I anonymously sent everything that happened in the restaurant that day to the Crown Prince's fiancée. The fiancée acted very quickly. Although still studying abroad, her people were secretly monitoring Mia. Before Mia disappeared, she sent me a message. "Sis, Ethan invited me to Thailand for a vacation. Just like you said, as long as I persevere and don't give up, our misunderstandings will be resolved." She sent me a photo at the airport. The destination on it was Myanmar. I looked at the message, a smile curving on my lips. "Have a fun trip, my sister." From then on, there was no news of Mia. Our parents asked how Mia was doing now. The more they thought about it, the more their heads ached. "We'll only ask one more question. She really hasn't changed her ways, indeed." I nodded. My sister said she wanted to travel and go on vacation with the Crown Prince.